The door was already open when the inspector arrived. Daniel stood in the hallway, staring at it. Apartment 7B was supposed to be empty. The building manager had told him that twice. No tenants, no furniture, no open doors. Yet there it was, a narrow door at the end of the hallway, cracked open just enough to show darkness inside. Daniel checked the clipboard in his hand. According to the floor plan, that door should not exist. There were 6 rooms on this floor, 6 doors. He had counted them himself on the way in. This was the 7th. The hallway lights flickered softly above him. The building was old, quiet, and smelled like dust and cleaning chemicals. Daniel took a slow step closer. "Hello?" he called. His voice echoed strangely, like the hallway was longer than it looked. No answer. Daniel glanced back down the hall. The other apartment doors were closed. Normal. Familiar. He looked back at the open door. The darkness inside didn't move. He reached out and pushed the door open a little more. It opened easily. Too easily. Inside was a room. Plain. Empty. Small. White walls. Bare floor. A single light fixture hanging from the ceiling. Turned off. No windows. Daniel frowned. That's not right. 2 hours earlier, this had been a simple job. Daniel worked as a building safety inspector. His job was boring on most days, check smoke detectors, measure hallways, compare real spaces to old blueprints. He liked boring. Boring meant safe. This building downtown was scheduled for renovation. His task was to verify the floor layouts before construction began. Everything had been fine until he reached the 3rd floor. The floor plan showed 6 apartments. The hallway showed 7 doors. At first, Daniel thought he had miscounted. He walked back and forth twice. 7. Always 7. He returned to the open door and flipped on his flashlight. The beam cut into the room, revealing bare wall that felt too close together. The light did not reach the far corner. It seemed to fade before it got there. Daniel stepped inside. The air was colder in the room. Not drafty. Still. Heavy. He turned slowly, scanning the walls. No outlets. No vents. No markings at all. This wasn't added later, he muttered. No way. He backed out into the hallway and pulled out his phone, snapping a photo. The image looked normal on the screen. A small empty room. Plain walls. But when he lowered the phone and looked again, the room felt different. Smaller. The door behind him creaked softly. Daniel spun around. The hallway door was still open, but the hallway beyond it looked longer. The lights seemed farther apart now, stretched like the hallway had grown while he wasn't looking. Daniel's pulse quickened. Okay, enough. He stepped back into the hallway. The moment both his feet crossed the doorway, the door behind him closed. Not slammed. Closed. Carefully, Daniel grabbed the handle and tried it. Locked. That's funny, he said, forcing a laugh. He knocked once. Maintenance, he called. Silence. He turned back toward the hallway and stopped. The hallway was gone. In its place was another hallway. Longer, narrower, darker. The walls were the same white color, but they felt wrong, like they were leaning inward. Doors lined both sides now. Too many doors. All of them closed. At the far end of the hall, one door stood open. Light spilled out from it. Daniel's breathing grew shallow. This is a joke, he whispered. Someone's messing with me. He took one step forward. The floor creaked loudly beneath his foot, the sound echoing again and again, as if the hallway had no end. A sound came from one of the doors. A soft knock. Then another. Knock. Knock. Daniel froze. Another door knocked. Then another. Soon, knocking echoed up and down the hallway, slow and uneven, like different hands with different rhythms. Daniel backed up, his shoulders brushing the walls. Stop, he said. I'm leaving. The open door at the end of the hall slowly began to close. Daniel ran. As he moved, the hallway lights flickered off one by one behind him. The knocking grew louder, closer, like the doors were moving with him. He reached the open door just as it was about to shut and shoved it hard. The door flew open. Daniel stumbled inside and fell forward onto a familiar floor. He scrambled up, heart pounding. He was back in the original hallway. The normal one. 6 doors. Light steady. No 7th door. Daniel stared around in disbelief. "What the hell?" he whispered. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out. A new photo had appeared in his gallery. He hadn't taken it. The image showed a floor plan, the same one from his clipboard. Except now, there was a seventh room drawn in red. And inside that room, written in small letters, were the words. Behind him, a door quietly opened. Daniel did not turn around. He stood frozen in the hallway, staring at the phone in his hand. The words on the screen stayed the same no matter how many times he blinked. His name was not written there, just a roll, like the building didn't care who he was. Behind him, the door continued to open. Slowly, carefully, Daniel swallowed hard and forced himself to turn around. The seventh door stood a few feet behind him now, the one that wasn't supposed to exist. The crack between the door and the frame was wider, and a pale light spilled out onto the floor. The light wasn't bright. It looked tired, old. "Hello," Daniel said again, his voice barely steady. The word echoed, but not the way it should have. It didn't fade. It repeated softly, like the hallway was whispering it back. He took a step away from the door. The floor creaked. Inside the room, something shifted. Daniel's heart began to race. He looked down the hall, hoping to see the exit stairs, the elevator, anything familiar. They were gone. The hallway stretched on in both directions, identical doors lining the walls. All of them were shut, all of them silent, except one. A door halfway down the hall had a thin line of light under it. Daniel backed toward the opposite wall, his shoulder brushing the cold paint. "This isn't happening," he whispered. "I must have hit my head." The phone vibrated again. A new image appeared. It was a live camera view, but it wasn't from his phone. The angle was high, tilted slightly downward, like a security camera mounted near the ceiling. The image showed the hallway, showed him. Daniel looked up instinctively. There was no camera, but on the screen, he could see himself clearly. Pale, sweating, standing too still. The image zoomed in. Daniel's breath caught. "Stop," he said. The zoom did not stop. The phone buzzed again. Room status, occupied. Daniel shook his head violently. "No, I'm not staying." He moved fast now, walking down the hallway toward the light under the door. Every step felt wrong, like the floor was soft, bending slightly under his weight. As he got closer, he noticed the door number. It read 7B. "That's my assignment," he whispered. The door handle was warm when he touched it. Too warm. He hesitated, then pulled it open. Inside was a small apartment, a living room, a kitchenette, a narrow bedroom visible through an open doorway. Everything looked normal, too normal. The furniture was old but clean. A couch, a table, a lamp turned on beside the sofa. The walls were covered in photos. Daniel stepped inside slowly. The door closed behind him. He spun around and grabbed the handle. Locked, of course. He forced himself to breathe and turned back toward the room. The photos on the wall caught his eye. They showed the building. Different times, different years. Construction photos, old tenants, families standing in the hallway, smiling, and inspectors, men and women holding clipboards, standing exactly where Daniel had stood earlier. Each photo had something scratched into it, a red line, crossing through their faces. Daniel stepped back, his legs weak. "How many?" he whispered. The lamp flickered. From the bedroom came a sound, a pen scratching on paper. Slow, steady. Daniel shook his head. "No," he said. "I'm not going in there." The scratching stopped. A voice spoke from the bedroom. Calm, flat. "You're late." Daniel froze. "Who are you?" The voice paused. "We don't track names." Daniel felt cold spread through his chest. "Then what do you track?" There was a soft sound, like paper being set down. "Compliance." Daniel backed toward the kitchen counter, his eyes never leaving the bedroom doorway. "I didn't agree to this." The voice replied gently. None of them did. The phone in his hand buzzed violently. The screen now showed the floor plan again. The red seventh room pulsed faintly. Text appeared beneath it. "Inspection in progress." Daniel's vision blurred. "I quit," he said. "You hear me? I quit." The voice almost sounded amused. "You can't quit mid-inspection." The bedroom light turned on. Daniel saw a desk inside, a chair, papers neatly stacked, and someone sitting in the chair. The figure looked human, wearing a jacket, holding a clipboard. Its head was down, writing. Daniel took a shaky step back. The figure slowly looked up. Its face was blank, smooth, like someone had erased it. "You missed something," the voice said. The figure stood. Daniel turned and ran. The apartment stretched as he moved, the doorway farther away with every step. The walls creaked and groaned like the building was shifting around him. Behind him, footsteps followed, not rushed, patient. Daniel burst through the door into the hallway. But it was no longer the same hallway. Every door was open now, and inside every room stood someone holding a clipboard. All of them turned their heads at the same time, all of them faceless. Daniel screamed and ran toward the stairs that suddenly appeared at the end of the hall. He took them two at a time, lungs burning. At the bottom, a single door waited, marked with red letters. "Exit." Daniel slammed into it and burst through. He stumbled forward and found himself standing back in the original hallway. The real one. 6 doors. Light steady. Quiet. Daniel collapsed to his knees, shaking. "It's over," he whispered. "It's over." His phone buzzed softly. One last notification. Inspection complete. Daniel laughed weakly and wiped his face. Then he noticed something. Across the hallway, a door was slightly open. A door that had not been there before. A 7th door. And inside, a light was already on.